And don't check your calendar. It's not let it rip night, but it is when a big story happens.
Yeah.
Joining us now to react to these latest charges, former State Democratic Party Chair Mark Brewer, Auto Workers for Trump 2024 founder Brian Pennebecker, and attorney Elias Muwad. It's good to see all of you. My co-anchor Taryn and I want to talk to you about this. It's an important day and one that both sides want to reflect on. Let's talk about these charges: conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Eli, we keep hearing indictment, indictment, indictment.
Right.
Will this go anywhere?
Well, number one, a conspiracy is an agreement between two or more people to commit a crime. The way the law is written, if you can show an attempt to defraud, that's also part of an element that the government can prove. So the question is number one, did he have an agreement to conspire with somebody else? Who's going to step up and say that? Who are the witnesses? We know there was some charges today in the state of Michigan. Are they going to be witnesses against Trump? There's a lot of variations here that may happen, but we know that Trump is saying what he was saying in the news for the last couple years, and the question is did he attempt to defraud the United States?
And we heard about the special counsel saying he wants a speedy trial. I don't know if it matters if it's in April or perhaps on Election Day if this trial came out. If the supporters haven't turned after 3 indictments in 4 months, is something like this going to make them change their minds, right, Mark?
Well, you see his poll numbers go up among his base in the Republican primary polls, and I think that'll continue to happen because people feel like I do that the DOJ and the FBI are going after him. The FBI sat on an FD 1020 or an HD 1023 that had allegations against Joe Biden, so they're obviously trying to protect the current president, and they've been weaponized against the president since Mueller was appointed to investigate whether or not Donald Trump was a Russian agent. So every time,
minute, Brian, wait a minute. You're telling me that this is all to cover up the Biden thing, to distract them, to put this Trump stuff out there, and then the Biden stuff's being hidden? What about if all these allegations against Trump stood without any Hunter Biden in the picture? Would you, if that was a Democratic leader, would you say the same thing?
Well, I would say this. I'm not a lawyer, but Eli can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can commit fraud if Donald Trump actually believes in his heart that he won that election, and he's telling people he wants them to go out and investigate Rudy Giuliani or his other lawyers, whoever they were, to find those votes. Because I was a poll challenger down at TCF, Roop and Taryn, and I'll tell you, I saw computer screen after computer screen of ballots that were checked in. And there was, on a presidential ballot, there's a lot of races you can vote. And I saw ballot after ballot where only one race was voted, president, for Joe Biden. They didn't vote for senator, they didn't vote for congressman, they didn't vote for anybody else, just Joe Biden, and then a scribbled signature, one after another, dozens and dozens in a row. So that's the kind of fraud Donald Trump is talking about. I submitted 4 affidavits.
But then, of course, we know other people have also been now accused of fraud, and that situation is playing out right now. 2 more local individual supporters of Trump also indicted today. But I'm wondering, Mark, though, when you see what's going on with this, does the timing seem a bit suspect? I mean, we know some of these dates go back to 2016, 2.5 years. If people say the timing's politically motivated, thoughts on that?
Not at all. This is a great day for democracy, because in this detailed 45-page indictment, which Brian should read before he spouts off, there are time after time when Trump admits to people that he was talking to that he knew he lost. So he was clearly intent on overturning the election, through fake electors, through perpetuating lies, stirring up the insurrection at the Capitol. This is an incredibly damning, detailed indictment of Trump that nobody can refute.
Do you think the speech that he made on the day of the insurrection is solely responsible for the violence that we saw that happened right afterwards?
Not solely responsible, but I think it was the spark, because he got those people to come there. He wound them up. Now, that's not part of the indictment, and they don't charge him with the insurrection that day, but they do charge him with all the events leading up to that. And then even after the insurrection at the Capitol that day, he is still calling legislators, members of Congress, saying overturn the election results, even after the events of January 6th.
But Eli, what about a defense for the former president. Can he say freedom of speech, that he just, that's how he felt?
That is clearly the predominant view of everybody that's on Trump's side. It's freedom of speech. He has the right to say that. But that's not what's at trial here. What's at trial here is, did he conspire with some other people to commit or defraud the United States? Whether it was to defraud them by keeping them from certifying the election results in the states, or other things. Can they prove that? We don't know yet what witness statements they have. We just have the generalities of an indictment.
Are candidates allowed to question the results of an election, Eli?
That is freedom of speech. That is not where you're yelling fire in a theater. That doesn't play up to that. That's not enough.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point here. I just want to bring up someone who was in the middle of all this, whose life was threatened in the middle of this. We're talking about former Vice President Mike Pence. And today he came out and said, hey, I'm going to echo this again. Nobody is above the Constitution, and no man is above the Constitution.
He's also running against Donald Trump right now, so let's not forget that.
But let's remember for a moment that that is true, that no one is above the law.
That's true. That is true.
We also honor, for instance, the Constitution, the Capitol. Are these institutions greater than any man?
The people who support Donald Trump, Rupe, and I'm telling you as one of them, feel that our government has been weaponized, has become biased, has become criminal, that the leaders of the FBI are criminals.
But do you think the Constitution and the Capitol, that sacred, hallowed Capitol, do you think that those are greater than any one man? Yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
And they should not be sacrificed or compromised?
But I also think there were undercover FBI agents at the Capitol on January 6th in the crowd dressed as Trump supporters that were instigating and inciting. I
really
know
believe that.
Yeah,
Brian,
I've seen it on the video.
If I was one of the supporters that were there, or the crowds at the Capitol, and actually stormed the Capitol, and I went to jail, prison for those crimes, and I've watched other GOP supporters turn against Donald Trump, aren't you a bit, I don't know, maybe looking at both sides at this point, seeing your own supporters?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Changing their minds and serving time in prison?
I love law enforcement and respect them. Anybody that struck or obstructed a police officer, a law enforcement officer on that day, absolutely committed a crime. You could go there and peacefully protest, and that's what 95% of those folks did. But if you committed a crime there and you assaulted a police officer, you deserve to be charged with a crime. And also, if you went into the Capitol building unlawfully, then that's a crime.
Mark, you're shaking your head quite a bit.
Those people were not peacefully protesting. There were nearly 1,000 people have been indicted. Hundreds have pled guilty. Many others have been found guilty in a trial. We've heard this nonsense from people like Brian for years that there were FBI instigators in the crowd. They have never proven it at all. They've never pointed to an individual.
Why was Ray Epps just arrested?
They've never appointed. They've never appointed a single individual. All this fantasy about election denial. That's all it is.
And Eli, let's touch on this though. The fact that this is all happening during an election time. Can there be a speedy trial, like they keep saying, to quote that, in April? And I mean, this could drag out until possibly into the presidency.
A lot of people are going to want a speedy trial because of the elections, right? They want to get this done and over with. But the fact is, there's going to be so much discovery, meaning police reports, witness statements, etc. And I don't know if they can get this done.
Can he request a change of venue? Because he's not going to get a fair trial in D.C. Virginia, maybe Virginia, whatever's in that district.
The crimes are committed in D.C., and what Trump's going to do is going to try to stretch this out past the election in the hope that if he wins, he'll fire all the prosecutors. He's going to do everything he can to obstruct justice.
We only have a quick minute left, and credit to some of the points that Brian's making right now. There are a lot of questions about Hunter Biden's relationship with these Chinese and Ukrainian companies, and perhaps what his father was involved with or may not have been involved with. These are allegations, but don't you think they deserve the media's fair attention? Shouldn't we pay
They're getting plenty of attention, but they pale in comparison to Trump trying to overthrow the government of the United States.
But if not comparing the two, do you think
you
alone?
Can't compare the two.
Without comparing them, do you think it's important that the media and the people at home, the voters, also look at that as?
And they are getting attention. The Republicans in Congress are creating this media furor, but there's absolutely no proof of wrongdoing by the President of the United States, in contrast to Trump, who has not only been indicted 3 times, but faces 2 more sets of indictments in the near future.
That's not true,
Mark. This man is guilty.
There is evidence. The FBI is sitting on it.
I'd like to challenge all of us, regardless of whether you're red or blue, to look at each case in a vacuum alone and not compare it to another. All of these men are not above the law, but below the
agree.
law, and they all need to be looked at accordingly. Eli, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Always good to see you, Brian. Mark, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Very welcome.